I was 23 years old and in the middle of my university honors degree when I first watched the movie Wild, documenting Cheryl Strayed's journey along the Pacific Crest Trail. I immediately read her book seeking more information about this epic adventure, and decided then and there that it was something that I absolutely had to do one day. Life happens, and it was only 3 years later that I mentioned my intention to Rob, expecting the dream to stay at an arm's length, and he promptly replied, "Well, let's do it." On the 24th of April 2018, I found myself standing on the Mexican border in the blazing desert heat with a backpack that weighed more than 25% of my body weight and only 5 days of prior hiking experience to my name. The journey ahead of us was 2,652 miles long, across the states of California, Oregon, and Washington, with the aim of reaching the Canadian border. It was daunting, to say the least. I went into the adventure expecting many things: to see beautiful places, meet interesting people, challenge myself physically, and achieve something big. All of these happened, but it was the fundamental shift in my outlook on life that I will treasure as the greatest experience of all. Over the course of 158 days, we traversed terrain that was so raw and spectacular that sometimes I found it difficult to believe it was real. The first 702 miles crossed the unforgiving deserts of Southern California. 40-degree heat, a couple of rattlesnake encounters, and 2-day waterless stretches in a hostile desert environment are enough to teach anyone to appreciate the simple pleasures of shade and shelter. A humbling experience that leaves me in awe of nature's ability to survive. I can remember packing before the trip, feeling so concerned that we weren't going to have everything we would need. How can you possibly carry everything you need for 6 months? But the reality was that even our minimalistic packing list was too much, and we quickly found ourselves donating unnecessary items to hiker boxes and keeping only the bare essentials. Having to carry something up a mountain is an awesome way to justify whether or not you really need it. A principle I think we should apply to our everyday lives. Next, we tackled the Sierra Nevada, a network of the most spectacular high-altitude mountains I've ever seen. Snow-covered peaks and dreamy alpine lakes brought upon a new appreciation of wilderness. The region is so rugged and inaccessible that man hasn't been able to interfere, and the result is simply magnificent. We summited Mount Whitney 4,000 meters up and climbed our way over 7 snow-covered mountain passes, one tiny step at a time. When you only have the bare necessities, it's amazing how quickly you start to appreciate what's around you. Running water, a sheltered tree, a beautiful sunset. I also found that being in the wilderness for so long gave me such clarity on what is actually important to me. When I felt homesick, it wasn't anything physical that I was pining for, but simply the company of family and friends. I realized quickly that the only things worth collecting in this life are memories and experiences, and if you can share those with people you love, you truly will be the richest person in the world. This led us to the thick forests of Northern California, where you can truly realize how tiny you are in the bigger network of existence. Raging wildfires and smoky skies made us aware of the fragility of this earth and pushed us mentally to experience new levels of stamina and endurance. We were elated to reach Oregon, which then flew by as our newfound physical conditioning allowed us to cover up to 40 kilometers in a day, appreciating the lakes, volcanoes and bears we passed en route, but all the while being acutely aware of the changing seasons and the winter snowfall deadline we had if we wanted to reach Canada. Before we knew it, we had made it to Washington, the final state on what had already been an enormous adventure. By now, life in a tent seemed normal, and the privilege of being able to set up home in a unique corner of nature every day had really started to sink in. The physical challenge got more intense as our bodies became fatigued and some days had to be approached one simple step at a time. Washington's autumn colors and snow-capped mountains were the perfect ending to the journey of a lifetime, and before we knew it, step by unpredictable step, we had covered 4,142 kilometers to reach Canada. Upon reaching the northern terminus on the USA-Canadian border, I had expected feelings of elation and celebration, but as I stood there, in front of my biggest personal achievement, I just wept with gratitude. The relief that the physical journey was now over, coupled with the knowledge that my life would never be the same, is a feeling that stirred my soul to make a priority out of living. It is only when you extract yourself from the normal that you realize how ridiculous it is. The biggest lesson learned from this experience was that one of humankind's worst flaws is our never-ending pursuit to collect stuff. When you take check of what it is that you actually need, it's amazing how simple fulfilling those needs becomes. Stuff weighs you down, it eats your time, demands your money, governs your lifestyle, and skews your values. There's plenty of stuff out there to see, experience, and appreciate. You don't need to own it. So for what it's worth, my advice is to put down all your stuff and take a walk. You never know how it might change your life.
Just shake it.